Hello and welcome to the Live Well, Be Well, a wellness show where we explore diverse ways to boost health, well-being and connection. Breathe, thrive and feel alive. My name is Deborah from Be Well with Deborah. I'm a wellness coach and your show host for today. The purpose of the show is to inspire and educate as we explore the many paths of wellness together. Creating community and connection is vital for true wellness, and here we have the opportunity to listen to those doing incredible work in the wellness field, as well as individuals with inspiring personal stories of their own wellness journey. My intention is that the insights and experiences shared here bring you inspiration, encouragement and hope, especially if you or your loved ones are facing any challenges on your own wellness journey. Joining us today we have Ger O'Brien, a passionate and highly experienced Master EFT Emotional Freedom Technique Practitioner, a motivational speaker, life coach and spiritual healer. With a deep commitment to mental health and emotional well-being, Ger has dedicated his life to helping others break free from the limiting beliefs and unresolved emotional pain that holds them back. Ger's work with individuals through one-on-one sessions and also through wellness seminars, motivational workshops and talks, empowering those that he works with to overcome anxiety, depression, stress, grief and more. At the heart of his work is Emotional Freedom Technique, EFT, a powerful method that helps to release trapped emotions and clear energy blockages that may be negatively affecting the mind and body. Through his compassionate approach and intuitive insight, Ger supports clients in recognizing their true potential, encouraging personal growth, emotional healing and a positive shift in mindset that can transform everyday life. Whether you're struggling emotionally, seeking motivation or simply want to learn how to shift your perspective, Ger brings tools, wisdom and a heart to help guide the way. Welcome to the show, Ger.
Thank you very much, Debbie. What a beautiful introduction.
You're very welcome. It's a great honour to have you on the show. How are you feeling in yourself today?
I'm in great form, thank you. Yeah,
brilliant.
Absolutely
brilliant.
buzzing. Lovely to be here.
Fantastic. So I'm curious and I'd love to delve in a little bit more so that our listeners can learn a little bit more about your background and your own personal journey. Can you share what led you to the world of EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique and spiritual healing?
Okay. I guess what led me to what I'm doing today, what I believe to be is my true purpose in life, is being of service and helping people, was when I was going through my own mental health and emotional issues back many years ago. To be honest, I wanted to take my own life, and I was actually driving down Anglesey Street here in Cork City, and it had come to a point where I thought I've had enough, you know. I was actually crying my eyes out in the van. The lights were red and I'd made up my mind I was going to go home, I was going to take my own life. And while I was contemplating that, these thoughts and these images popped into my mind, that when you're just at your lowest point, you'll give yourself a little lift up and things will start to change. And I literally had this image of crawling or hanging off a cliff by my fingernails and crawling across the cliff on the grass. This was the image that I had, and I just didn't know where it came from. I'm not going to say everything changed that moment, but I didn't go home and take my life, obviously. So it was, what I put it, I realised afterwards that where did this come from? I realised that the conscious mind is, the subconscious mind is the filing system for the conscious mind thinking, and it never forgets anything that it's ever experienced. So I'm thinking afterwards, when I learnt about this, where did those thoughts and those images come from? I must have seen something somewhere, something that instigated that thought, that image, that emotion at that time to say, you know, this isn't the right thing to do, Ger. It's not the time to go. So after that I went home, I went upstairs, I was crying my eyes out on my own. Typical man, didn't speak to anybody about it, what I was going through, you know, I kept it all to myself. And it was after that I decided to delve into why anybody would want to take their own lives and leave this incredible planet. There must be a reason. Obviously there's lots of reasons why people do it. I have my own reasons but there must be a way out of this, and taking one's life is not the way to go. So then I started to study and study and study and travel, do seminars and you name it. I studied for years while I was still in construction, and here I am today working at what I do. Didn't happen overnight. I've invested so much time into what I'm doing today, and I was finally able to back up to construction a couple of years ago and do this full time.
Fantastic. It was almost like you got to like this breaking point, and then it was like there was this almost sort of a slight kind of an awakening of your subconscious mind to be like, there's another way. And I'm curious then, when you speak about the subconscious mind and how that's like linked to trauma and stuff and emotional repression, can you speak into that?
Oh yeah, well, basically we are as a result of our past experiences. Everything that we have experienced molds us into the people that we are today, living these life experiences from past events. Most of us, we live from habits, and the habits are seeds that are planted in the subconscious mind from experiences, traumas, things that were said to us. And the subconscious mind is like a garden, basically. Call it the garden of your mind. So every seed that you plant, which is a thought, which grows after its kind, and it's every seed that is impressed upon the subconscious mind has to grow after its kind. There's no ifs or buts, whether that's a positive or a negative thought. Anything that's taught, the subconscious mind accepts it as a fact.
And is there a way then that people can intercept the subconscious mind, because you have come from like a very, very low point in your life, and you have really seemed to be able to change that around? Can you speak into how you work with your subconscious mind, and is that how you now work with people then today to move through low points and limiting beliefs?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first and foremost, like I would say to somebody who's put you into the state that you're in, and they might say, well, my mother, because of what she did to me, or the relationship that I'm in, he did this to me. But then I go, no, who actually put you into the state that you're in? Who's created how you're feeling right now at this moment in your life? Well, the answer is, I have. I guess, and people say, I guess I should say myself. No, it's not. You should say, yes, you put yourself into this state by reacting to situations, circumstances and events that have happened in your life. You're running on the same program from these events, and you've created how you're feeling, because now it's become a habitual thought, and again that's impressed upon the subconscious mind, and you become what you're thinking of all day long. You get what you think of, whether you want it or not, so be careful of what you think of, because energy follows thought. And if people really knew and realised the power of one's thought, I guarantee to the listeners, you would be very careful about the thoughts that you think, and equally about the words that you speak, but especially about yourself, because the thoughts and the words that you speak, they go out into the universal consciousness and they do not come back void. So if you're thinking negative thoughts on a daily basis, for instance, if you get up out of bed and you think, oh, here we go again. Oh my God, can't stand that job.
And I can imagine that a lot of people do think like that, yes.
Yeah, I'm not happy in the relationship that I'm in. Oh my God, here we go again. Even from a young age for kids, so geez, I have to go into school today. I can't stand that fellow in school with me. Don't like the teachers, okay? Straight away, before you're even out of the bed, you're pre-paving the day in a negative way. But you can also do it in a positive way, even if you are feeling somewhat low. And you can say to yourself, you know, things aren't that bad. Maybe I can show an attitude of gratitude, for instance, and start the day tomorrow in a more wholehearted way and say things can actually get better. But you pre-pave the day ahead the night before you go to sleep. That's the most important time to impress your subconscious mind, because it's most active in the first couple of hours in the sleep state, and this is where creative imagination and visualization comes in. Whatever you want to achieve in your life, you visualize it, and you live from what's called the wish fulfilled, that you already have it. But the only way you're going to get it is to feel it. This is what all the books leave out. And all my studying over the years is it's come to the realization that you need to feel it to heal it, you need to feel it to attract it, you need to feel it to become it, and you need to act it. So when you go to bed at night, you must understand that when you are thinking thoughts, especially from that day, If they're negative, then you're taking into the sleep state, and the chances are, it's not the chances are, it's going to happen, you're going to wake up exactly in the same state of mind. If you're going into bed negative, you're going to wake up negative. If you plant seeds of positivity in the morning, then you're going to wake up positive. So the first 10 seconds, really, you could say, you've got to grasp that window of opportunity and be aware of the way you're thinking. If you start to think that negative way again, you must pull yourself back and say, hang on a second, I'm the one that's in control of me. I call the shots. I'm going to prepave my day ahead in a positive way by starting the day with positive affirmations, for instance, you know? And you can start talking to yourself before you even get out of your bed, which is what I do every single morning. I'm impressing my subconscious mind and prepaving the day. I'm saying really good things to myself, you know? And I'm not leaving anything to chance. I'm the one that's in control of me. I take full responsibility for my life, what's happened in my life, what's happening in my life now, what's going to happen in my life in the future. I take full responsibility. Because nobody's going to come knocking at the door for you, for me, for the listeners and say, you know something, I'm going to make everything okay for you. You just come along. You know what I mean? I'll wrap you up in cotton wool. Everything's going to be fine. It's not going to happen that way. Take responsibility.
Yeah, and I'm sure, like, for the listeners or people listening to this, or even people like that come in the door to you, it can be a bit of bittersweet medicine in one sense when people realise that actually I'm the one who's responsible for my life. I'm the one who's in charge of my life. And yet, on the other hand, there's a lot of power in that. You know, when people realise that actually I have the power to change my life. I'm curious to know, because there might be somebody listening, or there might be people hearing this that might be like, yeah, sure, positive thinking, that works for some people. Yeah, I can, and they might be a little bit pessimistic. Could you speak into how you were able to shift your life, or even if there was like a transformational story, like where you had somebody come to you that might have had that sort of thinking that was quite negative and didn't believe in the power of positive thinking, and even though there was a part of them that wanted to change, didn't fully believe it. Could you speak into the mindset of that? And before you speak into that, we're going to go for a little break, so we'll be back in a moment. Hello and welcome back to the Live Well Be Well show. I'm your show host Deborah, and today I'm speaking to the lovely Ger O'Brien, who is an EFT, emotional freedom technique practitioner. And before we went to the break, we were speaking about the power in realizing how much power we have in terms of to change with our mindset. And you were just about to explain, if somebody was listening, that there was a part of them that wanted to change, but they didn't believe that they could. Could you speak into that?
Yeah. So I deal with this on a daily basis. So I'll give you the introduction to a session with me when a new client comes in the door first. Obviously, we speak niceties for a few minutes, and then I'll ask them, do you want to carry on feeling like this for the rest of your life? The answer is no, obviously. So then I say, therefore, will you allow me to help you to help yourself? Because I can and will make a profound difference in your life. But if you don't listen to what I'm talking about, if you don't implement change and start to do things differently outside of the session or sessions, then it's entirely up to you. Otherwise, nothing's going to change. Then I put out my hand and I say, before you shake my hand, I said, that's a contract. And I said, now you're accountable to me. Have a think about it. So we shake hands on it. Then I have this framed behind my back. Read that. So I have this framed, obviously, I just said that. And it goes like this. A lot of people would have heard this. So I get them to read it out loud. If I always do what I've always done, I will always get what I've always gotten. So then I say to the client, let's contemplate. Let's think about this for a second. You can see the shift instantly. So then I say, what does that tell you? I need to change. I have to change. And I go, okay, everybody says that. The magic word here is, I choose to change. And when you choose to change, when you say that word, you're taking responsibility. Underneath that, there's the next part. I said, read that out loud. If I always think the way I've always thought, I will always get what I'm always thinking of. Then we contemplate on that. So what does that tell you? I choose to change my thoughts. change your thoughts, change your life. It's said in the Bible, as a man thinketh, so is he.
So true.
As above, so below. Everything starts with a thought. Again, it goes back to what I said. If you knew how powerful your thoughts were, guys, be very careful. And this is not a difficult thing to shift. It's once you come to the conscious awareness that you've created your life by the way that you're feeling, thinking, speaking and acting. And when you come to terms with that and you say, you know something, I'm going to start to do things differently today. I'm going to take responsibility. There's nobody to blame. Everything starts today. Everything is different. It's my choice.
Fantastic. And say with EFT then, how would that differ, say, from traditional like talk therapies like counselling or coaching? How is your approach different, and how does it get the results?
Well, my approach is obviously EFT, also known as tapping. It's an ancient system really where EFT isn't an ancient system, but we're tapping on the meridian system, also known as the energy body. And the energy body or the meridian system is where all the trauma, all the trapped emotions and energy blocks are held onto. So when I tap on particular points on the upper body, we start off with the karate chop point, tapping on that 5 to 7 times, work our way around the head, the chest and underneath the arm and the fingers maybe, depending on what I'm working with. So basically what I'm doing is when I tap on the karate chop point, sending an energetic chain of energy to what's called the amygdala, the part of the brain that's responsible for the fight or flight response, also responsible for the processing of emotions. So when we tap on these points and we're verbalizing how we're feeling and what we may have went through, well then it opens up the floodgates basically, and it starts to release that trapped energy that's been there for quite some time. This could be going back to childhood, something that was said to you or done to you at 4 or 5 years of age. So the way I look at it, it's like the energy body, the meridian system, they're like fast flowing rivers of energy. So look at it like a dam, and you know what a dam does, it holds back a lot of water. So when we start to open up the dam gate, i.e. tapping on these pressure points, talking about the traumas, then the water starts flowing through the dam slowly. It's the same with the energy through the body when we're working on energy blocks and traumas. So over a period of time, that dam gate is eventually lifted up, and it's like an unbelievable flood coming through. And when you get to that point, you don't have the connection to the traumas. Even you could go look back at the memories. They don't have that intensity anymore, that spark that's triggered maybe the overwhelm or the anxiety or the depressive states that you may be holding on to from past experiences. So it's literally like opening up the floodgate.
How would you speak to people then? Because a lot of people, they're afraid to feel, and a lot of people, they would be holding on to like such big emotions, you know, they've repressed it over the years to maybe distraction, drink, drugs, food, and like a lot of people are afraid to feel. Like how would you speak to the people that are afraid to feel? Like what words would you share for them to know that there's actually so much healing in being able to move through that, and so much freedom?
Well, this is a game changer. Unexpressed emotions become suppressed and they become toxic. We are as a result of what we're holding on to. If we don't heal the wounds from the past, we'll bleed all over the future. We either choose to feel it, to heal it, or nothing's going to change. I don't care what anybody says, if you don't deal with your past experiences, you are not going to be able to move forward in life. If you want better employment, if you want better relationships, it is literally, in my opinion, impossible to move forward unless you deal with unresolved specific traumas and events that are holding you back from moving forward, for being successful, for being happily married in a relationship, having a fantastic job. It's what's holding us back, trapped emotions. End of, that's it.
And can you speak into any really transformational clients that you've had come in that were really in that stuck place and wanted to change but felt there was no hope, and like how they were able to like move through? Have you like some, I know you don't say names now or anything like that, it's confidential, but can you share 1 or 2 stories that really like stood out for you, that like blew your mind? Like
There's so many.
So powerful.
And that's the truth, there's so many. Wow, where do I start? Let me go into the filing system of my subconscious mind here, and I pull one out. I guess I guess this one is a really good one, but there's so many, but I picked this one. This lady came to me a couple of years back. I was actually working in London at the time in construction, but I was still doing this when I'd come back on the weekends. And I came down from the shop anyway. Saturday morning, I was just back for the weekend, and my wife was talking to a friend of hers. What had happened anyway, she was making a cup of tea 6 weeks previous, and her hand started shaking. The cup fell out of her hand. Sat on the couch, got really worried. Her hand started shaking, legs started shaking, head, everything. Her body didn't stop shaking from that moment on. So it was like tremors, it was like 24-hour consistent epilepsy, she just couldn't stop shaking. So she'd been to see everybody, medications, you name it, everything. So she came to me anyway. Her husband dropped her off a Zimmer frame, got out of the car. Body was hopping all over the place, brought her in, she's still crying. And I just said, look, I'm going to help you here this morning. You know, the words just popped up. So I started working on her. 10 minutes later, she walked out the door.
Incredible.
Yeah. 10 minutes later, the husband picked her up, mounted the step, and he goes, "What the heck do to my wife?" And he goes, "Thanks very much. Thanks very much." You know? I said, I don't know. I said, just working with energy.
Yeah.
But it was a psychophysiological response and reaction to what was going on in the lady's life and her mind, you know. It was all emotional. So by tapping, we helped to release those blockages, and well, she's fine.
Yeah, that's incredible work. I always find that really profound. I've seen that in my own life, as I had shared with you. Just with the illness and health, it really does show up physically, and it's incredible when we have people that, like yourselves, that were able to go to basically move through the energy and find freedom, which is amazing. So well done for the work that you're doing. I'm curious as well, Ger. So you identify as a spiritual healer. How does energy and spirituality play into your work?
Well, everything is energy, as we know. You know, but it also do was hands-on healing, which I had studied in depth in London, a place called the Ethereal Society. And I go back there regularly, you know, and that's hands-on healing basically, and just connecting with source energy, with universal consciousness, with the God source, and I basically place my hand on particular parts of the body and work as a channel, I guess. Just to channel this spiritual energy into the body, into the chakra system, in order for deep healing to take place, into the nervous system especially, you know, to give the body, the mind, the nervous system a reboost, basically, you know. But, you know, people don't understand about spirituality really. They all think it's hocus pocus and what have you, but, you know, the way I put it is, the difference between spirituality and religion is that the spiritual person has already been to hell. The religious person fears going there. You know, everything that happens in life happens for a reason, you know, even especially not the so good stuff, honestly. And I've had this conversation with so many of my clients. Just accept where you are at this moment, just let go. You know, it's like being on a fast flowing river of life, and you're rowing against the current in your small little boat. You know, nothing you want is upstream. Just let go of the oars and let that fast flowing river of life take you where you're meant to be. Just accept where you are at this moment in life. And if you are going through, you know, some trauma, whatever that may be to you, whatever that means to you, just remember this, that at any given time in one's life, we're either going into the storm, we're in the storm, or we're coming out of the storm. Either way, the storm doesn't last for long. This too will pass.
It will indeed, it will indeed. I'm curious to know why, in your experience, why do you think so many people resist healing? Why do so many people resist feeling, you know, as you said, there you were talking about the stream, a lot of people, they're in their boat and they're like mad going up upstream. Why do you think there's so much resistance in people? Yeah,
there is a lot of resistance, but what you resist will persist. They must understand that, you know, it's going to keep coming at you. And when they're not willing to heal, well then it's not the right time. But in a lot of cases as well, believe it or not, at an unconscious level, some people don't want to heal because they're going to have nobody to complain about or play the victim. And I mean that in a respectful way, because they're not consciously aware of it, that again, they put themselves into the situation. And unless they grasp that it's down to them to heal, then nothing's going to change. But the only thing we have to fear is facing our own feelings. That's what really stops people from coming to see somebody like myself.
Brilliant, brilliant. And is there any daily habits or practices that you would recommend for emotional balance or mental resilience? If we had listeners, they'll be like, oh, I'd love to improve my mental health, improve how I feel. What tips could you give?
Well, number one is to tap on yourself. That's number one. I mean, that's a game changer. I guess number two is to ground yourself, connect with Mother Earth. Is probably the healthiest, best healing thing that you could actually do. Is to take off your shoes and socks, and obviously be careful where, if you're going to walk or whatever, you know what I'm talking about. Be careful, but take off your shoes and socks and stand on Mother Earth. It's the biggest battery there is the planet. You know, get all those negative ions going up through the body, creates incredible healing, either on Mother Earth or walk on the beach. It's the same thing. So those are two things. The other ones are, I guess, affirmations are powerful, which is one I would pass on to my clients and anybody that's listening. They can write this down. I suppose the first thing I would say in the morning, when I'm in the bed, my eyes are still closed, I cross my hands over my spiritual heart center and I take a deep breath. I breathe out and then I say, thank you God for my breath. Without this, I wouldn't be here. Why do I say that? 8 billion people in the world, 4 billion people went to sleep last night, such as the time difference in the world. Thousands didn't wake up this morning, so it's a great start. And then I say, today I choose to look for reasons to feel good. Nothing is more important than that I feel good. Nothing is more important than that I choose thoughts that attract other thoughts that raise my vibrational frequency to a place where I can resonate with the positive aspects of the universe. With infinite love and gratitude, I am truly grateful for who I am.
Fantastic. And if there are people listening and they're really intrigued and curious and they want to get in contact with you, how can they get in contact with you? And do you have any events coming up as well? Yeah,
well, my next event is in Carrigaline Court Hotel on August the 23rd. A day packed of positivity, inspiration and well-being. I said if anybody wants to contact me, they can contact me on my website, www.gerobrien.com, or at Ger O'Brien Cork on Instagram.
Brilliant, thank you very much. So before we finish up, if there was like one word that you could impart with our listeners, what is one word you would give to them today?
Be careful about the words that you speak after I am. They're the most powerful words in existence. Be careful how you choose your thoughts and the words that you speak, especially about yourself. Live life to the full. You don't know when you're going to be taken. Honest to God, there's 27,365,000 days in the average lifetime, 692,050 hours in the average lifetime. Be very careful how you live those hours. Live your life as if every single day as if it's your last.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much for having me on.
It's been an absolute pleasure. So that brings us to the end of the show. I hope that you really enjoyed listening with Ger today. Until next time, be well, Deborah.